Ladies and gents, welcome back. We're back for the away days, number 54 now. Even, as all things should be,
good.
as you said last week. Back with the even apps. It's Nathan, it's me, it's Thursday mornings. And we're talking a bit off air about we thought we didn't have enough, or I thought we didn't have enough this week, but when looking at the script, I think we've got enough to talk about this
there's
week.
plenty to waffle on. So,
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot to talk about from the championship. Haven't made a video yet about the championship, so a lot to talk about there. Obviously, we need to get your opinions on a few things regarding Bundesliga managers and players and results. So we'll start with that first. Straight into it. Bit of a love triangle here in many regards. We had what happened on the weekend was basically the title shifting ways over to Leverkusen. They won with a great 2-1 comeback again. But I want to start off with Bayern, who lost 2-0 to Dortmund. Gee, it was I'll let you take the floor, but I want to say it's this classic Bayern this season because the stats will say one thing, but the performance shows something else.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Just so many chances, but just so wasteful. And then even just defensively, like the chances they gave away were Dortmund could have scored a couple more themselves. And again, it's Tuchel for me, just picking the wrong team. I mean, he's playing Eric Dyer in defence, and typical Eric Dyer, when they concede, he's pointing at other players when it's pretty much his fault 90% of the time. Matisse Tell on the bench continues with Sane and Thomas Muller and these guys. And I think I said it a couple of weeks ago, they just need to move on from some of these players. You know, like it's just same old. There's nothing different about them. There's no sort of point of difference which they have on the bench in Matisse Tell. But yeah, it's just such a poor game from them again. You know, we've seen Barca turn it around, and obviously for their manager, and you think Bayern would maybe do the same, but it's just, Kane missing chances you'd expect him to score, and when that's happening, it's like, nothing's going right. So.
It just felt like that in that, because like Kane had a few, but every time I said it in the reaction video I made that despite them looking all right with the ball and having a bit more possession, having the odd shot and XG in their favour, they always feel vulnerable to a counter-attack. Like I think, was it a few weeks back where I think it was Hoffenheim or Bochum, one of those teams, beat Bayern as well when they were away from home. And it was like, but you might let Bayern come onto you and have a few chances, but you can get them on the counter-attack. And especially playing Eric Dyer at the back, that takes away all your pace and versatility of your back line. He continues with his high line. It's almost like suicide for this team because they just get exploited so easily. It takes a few passes, a few turnovers. Dortmund could have scored a goal or two more if they'd been more clinical in the counter-attack, because a few times they got out, and obviously the first goal comes from Adeyemi, which is the most classical counter-attack, the quickest guy on the team. Just let him go run and he scores the goal.
I think if Neuer was in goal, I think that's saved.
Yeah, it was a bit poor there.
Got a strong enough hand to where he just kind of... Neuer saves it, but again, it was, it was just a typical Bayern goal to concede, wasn't it? Yeah. Like that back four, back five, whatever, individually, they're nowhere near their best. But I feel like a good system can sometimes prevent that. Yeah. Like even if players are not at their best, a good system just gets you over the line, like Leverkusen, for example.
Exactly.
But yeah, just Tuchel's just messing with the starting lineup, I think, and it's just not good at the moment.
He said it, title's over. That says a lot about him, the mindset, the team, and the league, the state that it is right now. Like, I get it. We all think it is, but if you were the manager of one of the biggest clubs in the world, I don't think you come out and say something like that. That's just like, I want to go home. Get me out of here.
Get me out of here as quick as possible. I don't care about the season. Yeah.
And the fact that you still got Champions League to come, and you're speaking like that about the league, it's just like, is this the guy? Like, this is really making my list for managers look really poor, because I was raving about what he could do with this team, and it just seems like just defeatist mindset. And I know it's a lot of points, but you're Bayern Munich. You're the big boys, you're the bullies in the town. Why don't you go out there and turn it all around? But it looks like you couldn't with this team. They are so on the beach, as we like to say a lot. They're not there.
I think it's more the managers on the beach than the players in a way. It might with the mindset that he's coming out with in press conferences saying, it's over. Like, obviously everyone knows it's over, but come out and say, you never know what could happen. Leverkusen could lose 2 games, and then we could win 2 games, and it's back to what, like that's 7 points or something.
It's small margins.
It as you said, it just feels like they're on the beach a bit, and the the longer this is going on, the more I'm thinking Arsenal will smack these in the Champions League.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's it's an interesting watch still because
It's gonna be an interesting watch.
it just feels like they're going to implode one game where they're going to cop like 4 or 5.
That's the thing.
It
It
just
feels it's going to happen.
yeah.
It might be Champions League, like you
It
said.
might be, yeah.
Because Arsenal are like in tip-top form. They need a revenge for the last 3 times they've been battered by behind the Champions
It's going to
League.
be 10-2 the other way. So.
It could be bad. It could be really... Like this team, we said it needs a lot of change. But we'll talk about later in the video. I'm sort of getting ahead of myself. But it's about what manager wants what sort of players in this group now because... Do you try and salvage this? Because on paper, there's a lot of talent there. We said it a few times there. It's probably one of the top 5 teams on paper in the world. But out of those players on paper that are performing well, I can count on 3 fingers almost. And you look at Harry Kane, Neuer, Kimmich to an extent.
I mean, maybe Chuck Tell in there, but he's been on the bench the entire season.
He doesn't see that.
Exactly, he doesn't play, which...
It's just, it's all over the place.
I'm still going on that, by the way.
I'll be on that. I'll be on that train with you. He deserves to be going somewhere else if he's not playing football at the moment. Like
Sane shouldn't be starting. You know,
Sane's
he's
one of the most
so wasteful,
disappointing.
man. So wasteful.
Yeah, some of the most disappointing in that group there. I think just
even their midfield. Kimmich has underperformed. Goretzka's underperformed.
Doesn't look like himself. Looks like a different guy. It's just it's hard to see any cure. To this.
It's very one-pace kind of team, isn't it? In a way, that midfield,
perfect,
especially like Kimmich, Goretzka, Lima, they're all kind of the same player in a way. They all do the same things well, but they don't. There's no creativity in there.
You need like a Bernardo, so someone a bit different,
someone like that,
not just a big strong guy that can do a bit of everything. You need someone to do something really well.
They rely all that on Musiala, and he gets
chucked out. And
he gets dragged like left wing, and but. I mean, it's just like you said, the very start. It's just typical Bayern of where they're at the moment.
It feels like typical Bayern. I think right now what we see is, managing competence in terms of the starting 11, change things around, changing tactics every game. Second, the incompetence of what squad goes out there because the squad that goes out that does not perform. And thirdly, in games, if I'm opposition, I'm letting Bayern have all the possession they want because whenever they get lazy and turn the ball over, it's night. Basically, because getting them on the counter at the moment is so easy. So I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal say, Bayern, you have the ball, but we're going to use Saka, Martinelli, Trossard and just get you on the counter, get you with pace because they're very, very, very vulnerable in the counter-attack. Fair play to Dortmund, though. First win away in 9 years, I think, or 10 years, since Klopp and Aubameyang and all those guys were there. Like, we're talking way back when. And a well put together result. Like, as I said, they sat in when they had to sit in. They were resilient. Schlotterbeck and Hummels about their games of their careers on the weekend.
Hummels was like driving forward and could have scored.
He could have scored a goal.
But even Schlotterbeck, some of his slide tackling was very good.
That was so impressive.
That was a very like typical Dortmund like performance. Probably not of like their season, but like just of Dortmund in general.
It's screams
like,
Dortmund performance.
Screams Dortmund counter attack. The youngsters stepped up. Your man Maatsen was fucking incredible. But yeah, I mean, it was driven by that back four. I think they were all really good. So
the Sancho clips all came out as well now to mock Ten Hag.
Yeah.
He was skilling past 5 of them. I thought it couldn't get any worse. And then obviously Saturday happened, so that guy did get worse. But no, what a great result for Dortmund. And as Twitter quite rightly said, as Twitter's always right, of course, Dortmund, go and win away for the first time in 9 years when they're not even in a title race. So
exactly.
That is the most
big
classic
for top
Dortmund.
4 though.
Huge for them.
That's a good bit of confidence for them. So
it's okay. We might touch on that after this one here, but it's all sort of building up there as well. And that leads me on to the big boys now, Leverkusen. What a result in terms of they've done this now a few times. I think I could probably think of 3 times last month they've come back, and Patrick Schick is the clutchest man in world football right now.
Yeah.
And again, what a surprise. It comes from a full-back picking the ball into the area.
Pretty much,
and he gets to the end of it. Like, this relationship combination between Grimaldo, Frimpong and Schick is almost unstoppable ridiculous. At the moment. They were amazing, by the way, for full 90 minutes. It was sort of like
incredible,
your boys with Liverpool on the weekend, where you might only say 2-1 on the score sheet at the end of the game, but
much more dominant than that. It could have
been 5
anything.
or 6.
Yeah,
it
could have been. Yeah.
It was ridiculous. There was balls hitting the crossbar. I think they hit every single. They hit the crossbar and both the uprights. I'm pretty sure in this game.
Yeah.
Midfielders Andrich and Jack, all these guys pushing on, having they had, I think it was Hoffenheim in the final.
Yeah, Hoffenheim. Yeah,
They had them basically locked in their own penalty area. It was ridiculous how dominant they were. And I was like, well, this is just Leverkusen, isn't it? We never say a die attitude.
Yeah.
And in a week where they probably could afford to slip up in the end because of what happened to Bayern, they capitalised yet again.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
It's a championship team.
I have never watched a team in my life that creates not like so many chances, but like so many just incredible like goal scoring. Should be a goal chance. Like honestly, like they have like 30 shots a game, but 25 of them are genuine should be goals.
Yeah.
It's mental. Honestly, they created. I don't even know how many shots they had in the end. It would have been a ridiculous amount, but I mean, it's just mental the amount of chances they create and how high they play up the pitch, and they leave themselves maybe exposed a couple of times on the counter, but I mean they create that many chances. It doesn't matter, and they got a good back line to cover it anyway. So, I mean, yeah, Schick's been ridiculous, and you mentioned it a couple of times over the past couple of weeks. Like, there hasn't been a game this season. Probably there hasn't been one where you've gone, oh, they should have lost that. It's always been they got a draw, but they could have easily won. Yeah. Or they won, but they could have drawn that, but never they could have lost it.
Yeah, it's never that.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
To your point, 34 shots, 11 on target, forgetting the other 3 or 4 that hit the crossbar post.
Plus the other sitters that just went wide.
And the fact that, again, early passages was midfielders. It was almost like, let's just test the waters. Allow the midfielders to have a crack. So Andrich having a crack and Xhaka and all these, and Palacios getting involved as well. Like, that says a lot where they almost let themselves build into a game. And I think it's no surprise they're a great finish to the game team. One, because of Alonso's mentality is obviously instilled, but because I think they work their way in. They, find the passages. They get each other going first before they say, all right, let's just put the smack down here and we're going to put it to you past you. And, both got, like, Andrus' goal didn't look the best, but, great finish from a midfielder as well.
That's, like, the only place that it could have gone where, like, Hoffenheim didn't have players. Yeah. They had everyone on the line.
Everyone was actually there
and
in front of
he scuffed it in a way, that's one of those where you'd rather hit it like that than hit it sweet.
I think so, yeah.
Because that would probably, like, hit the bar or, like, just...
Some defender nicks his head and
the keeper's hand is just flinging there in it. But... Again, it was coming. Like, it was always coming. And then even like 10 seconds later, Grimaldo almost scored.
Yeah, in straight after.
Like 10 seconds later. Like, it's just the amount of chances this team creates. I've never seen anything like it. We've seen progressive attacking football in Liverpool and Arsenal and, Inter Milan do it. But the amount of good chances is just ridiculous.
Right. There should be another stat for scoreable chances because...
they'd be winning 20-0 every game. Like, it's mental. It's mental. And it doesn't matter who plays. Like, there's games where Frimpong doesn't play and the same thing happens. And, Andrik might not play or Teller comes from the bench. And it's just... I mean, is Boniface even playing?
No.
Yeah, no.
Still out.
Still out.
Like, they've got... they played Hoffman in this game here in that sort of second 10 position where sometimes they can play Adley or Tell, all these guys.
Yeah.
Borja Iglesias is another backup that hasn't actually scored yet. He was
a free and he doesn't score, but he's always there. He's always a threat. Exactly. Opens up space for Schick. So.
And I think you caught on it really early, and I'm starting to realise now, like, this player, not Robert Andrich, is so multifaceted that it's quite scary. Like,
it's scary.
He might be a holder, but we saw obviously the goal. We saw some of the chances early on, and some of his passing that I saw in this game here as well. This is a player, another one. Like, obviously we knew he was good, but the more I'm seeing, the more consistent the performances are. I'm thinking this midfield duo is like,
it's ridiculous.
This is almost the level of how I feel with Endo and McAllister. That same sort of, they're just going to be forever underappreciated because the price tag isn't 90 mil and 110 mil. It's a bag of chips.
Yeah. I mean, Andrick, like, who was he before the season? You know what I mean? Like,
I wouldn't
know who he was.
Wouldn't have a clue. No. I thought Xhaka was going there to finish his career and be average. They've gone. They're going to make an absolute hammer and top. Next season, they're going to cause some problems in Champions League football.
Especially with Alonso staying.
It's going to be ridiculous.
It'd be interesting what they do in the market because they've never been one to go out and splash the cash. They've always been a selling kind of club. Yeah. But now they're going to have a good amount of money. They got...
Going to draw some talent, I tell you
some of those players, even the players they got, like Wirtz was, God, That guy's just a freak. Some of his passing again. I'd imagine that whole team would stay. I don't imagine.
At least for one more round, right?
Like, because Alonso will probably go to.
He said he's got one more.
He'll probably go to Madrid. So
yeah,
great. But it'll be like kind of the last dance. In a way,
it feels like everyone's gonna hang around.
It's weird, like a 2-year era is gonna be the last dance.
Warren era. Hey,
it might be. They might not lose.
Exactly, for 2 years, they might never lose.
I mean, they're not going to lose this year by the looks of it. So
ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, they are just an unstoppable force at the minute. And besides Madrid, they're probably the best team in the world.
They literally are. I want to go to a Leverkusen game because after you're right, when that chance in Grimaldo nearly went in the second time around,
God.
that place erupted.
That would have exploded.
I could feel it through the screen. I was like, this place is like, this is what we love though. Like these smaller, we'll touch on Girona later on as well, but the atmosphere and like the like these fans have been starved of this sort of moment, these feelings.
Yep.
And you can see how much like this the connect, like you see post game, they want the manager to come across and celebrate.
That was
like,
good.
This is like, good.
Yeah.
This is why we love. This is why we love football. For moments like this, it was in terms of the Cinderella stories, it couldn't get much better at the moment. Obviously, they got the semi-final tonight of the Pokal. I think
they'll do what they did against Karabag and just kind of rotate a bit. Yeah, they got some
Dusseldorf at home,
which especially at home you'd expect
they should have their way there.
If you want those like 60s, 65, if it's like 0-0, then just bring on.
Yeah, and bang, bring
you'll
the
score within 2 seconds. So,
yeah, and then obviously they got an interesting sort of next few games on the weekend away to Berlin, who are still amongst the relegation groups. So they're going to be a tough game to face. And then you've got West Ham at home in the quarterfinals next Thursday night. So big next 3 games for them in terms of dictating how their season's going to be in terms of do they go unbeaten in many regards. But gee, what a weekend for them.
They're probably the most like connected club in the world, and that's saying something considering how like Liverpool, the whole thing that's going on there.
Yeah,
Arsenal are on the up and just Inter and stuff. It's just mental, that club at the moment. And it's down to Alonso at the end of the day.
He's changed the whole philosophy, mindset, connection of the club. It's
fair play to him and that club. So.
Yeah, and Patrick Schick, you can come and save my life any day of the week because he seems like he saves Leverkusen all the time. Forget Spider-Man and Batman, you got Patrick Schick to come and save the day.
In like a Liverpool top and a Real Madrid like shorts, just like an immortal.
It feels like that. It feels like that 100%.
It's coming back, so
yeah, super. I don't know. I got no more words for these guys.
Fair play to them.
Next week, if they do it again, I don't know what I'm going to say other than just, oh my God, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They just know to get it done.
Treble's still on, so very much on.
Absolutely
very much on.
Absolutely.
They've already got 2, the league and I'd say the cup.
We believe the cup's
it's just the Europa League. So.
I'm more excited for the Europa League than the Champions League.
Can you imagine like big, like this is a huge hypothetical. Liverpool win the league, obviously got the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
The last game will be for the treble.
Both
Leverkusen win the league and imagine that might be more exciting than the Champions League final.
It might be, considering the whole manager.
Obviously, there's a lot that has to go right, especially for Liverpool. For Leverkusen, it's pretty much a done deal.
That would be newspaper. That would be me sitting here with popcorn deluxe. It'd be like,
it'd be me like biting my nails, like just a nervous wreck.
No nails left at the end of that game. That'd be one of the most exciting games we might ever see.
Yeah.
Speaking about 2 teams that are exciting though. Girona and Betis on the weekend. 2 teams we've actually touched a lot on, to be honest, in terms of Betis and Isco and the way they've played their football. And also Girona, who was probably, them and Leverkusen probably the start of this whole midweek podcast, where we'll talk a lot about these guys. Girona seem to be back on track in terms of they keep finding results, which is really good. We want to see them also in Champions League football. They got a dramatic late win against Betis, thanks to club legend. It feels like a very happy week for everything in football. Stuani popping up with a late winner there. And I tell you what, the last few games seem to be pissing down with rain in Girona.
Yeah, I feel bad for them. Like, all them with their umbrellas.
All the umbrellas around.
They go flying when they score. Like, it was good.
I was like, fair play. Like this game being still so beautiful to watch. These 2 teams play such a nice brand of football. But again, happy that Girona is still keeping track, because obviously we know Barcelona have kicked into 4th gear almost at the moment.
Yeah,
they're firing.
Flying, aren't they? Yeah.
They should have scored more on the weekend as well. Only got a 1-0 win. But now it's really with them, Athletic Club, Atletico Madrid for that sort of 3rd and 4th spot. So good, another really important win. Dovbyk double.
Yep.
First time he scored in a yonk since we started talking about
It's
them.
been a
I
while,
think. He got a big double. William Jose got a double as well from really poor defensive errors.
First one was centre back,
centre back
pass, and then the cross, and then probably just the wet weather just skid on a bit, didn't it? But yeah, credit to them. I mean, they're obviously in a battle for just Champions League football. They're out of the title race. I think they're 10 points off. Unfortunately, but good on them. Like they should. I think they're still a long way off. They
should be fine.
Bilbao, who are now in 5th, because obviously they lost to Madrid. But credit to them. I mean, I think they're going to lose. They're obviously going to lose Savio. They might lose a couple more, but I think next year's just going to have to be a just stabilised kind of year for them. Yeah. Just don't fall off the rails a bit like kind of Leicester did.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, that's a good
example.
That
first season after.
Yeah. It's a lot to manage Champions League. So you're right. They're 9 points clear of Bilbao in 5th.
They should be. Yeah.
And 7 clear of Madrid in 4th.
Especially how inconsistent, particularly Atletico are.
Madrid, it wasn't very convincing the weekend either by them. Their 2-1 win. So they should be right there. But just good to see them keep. They've only lost 5 games. It feels like
they've just drawn a lot, haven't they? Yeah.
5
couple
draws,
of
5
nils, 1-1s. Yeah, they've been unlucky as well a couple of times with VAR and stuff. So look, it happens, and probably. We were more hoping they were going to keep up with Madrid more than expecting.
Yes, that's a good word for it.
But, again...
We can't have 2 underdogs win the title exactly, It'd be ridiculous to be in that far.
Them just being third is just mental. Like, still so close to Barca.
2 points behind Barcelona.
Exactly. So seconds,
This is a team that won the double last season.
Double last year,
and was one of the best teams defensively in the world. And yet, they're only 2 points off them. If Real Madrid haven't had the most incredible season, and
Ralph got lucky with the coming back from 2-0.
Yeah, comebacks, VAR.
It's not necessarily luck because they do it all the time, but still, you go on 2-0 down, you're risking.
If it's any other team in first,
exactly,
you probably are closer. But it's just Real. With all that's happened to them, they just still get it done. Was it who came back on the weekend? Militao? Did he come? Was it Militao came back?
I think he is coming back or did come back.
After 200 or something. It's just they've gone and dealt with no Alaba, no Militao.
Nothing's really changed, has it?
Courtois has been out, but it's at all the teams of the world. You talk about Man City, Arsenal, Bayern, any of the PSG. You lose some of their big stars like Real Madrid have, and Girona in any league could walk the league, but you've just got Real, and it's just.
And Girona didn't have Savio against Betis, and Dovbyk hasn't been firing, so they have had
they've had the
challenges
as well
within their squad, not injuries but just form, and credit to them. They're hanging in there.
The thing I want to touch on was their second goal, by the way. What did you see that play where they build up from the back?
I can't remember.
I think it was 5 passes, and again, this is why I touched on the weather. The video, the start of the introduction here, because it was awful weather for football, but they went pass to the left, pass into the middle, back out wide. I think it's Porto, and he laid it back across to Dovbyk in the first time finish, and I was like, wow.
That was Girona of the first half of the season.
That was Girona ball. That was Michelle ball. That was Michelle ball to a T, and I was like, this is just how can you not like this? And then you got Betis scored their second goal was great. Got Isco nutmeg 2 guys and then spread it out to 4 hours. But it's just
good to see him back as well. Isco.
They've missed him. And that's leads on to the next point perfectly. They've lost 4 games in a row now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And they basically ruled themselves out of European contention, unfortunately. So they're in 7th, 7 points behind Sociedad.
Sociedad are good as well. So
and Sociedad since they're no Champions League, they'll turn it around and be fitter. So
they'll be fine.
They'll be 7th, which...
That's nothing to be ashamed of. Sociedad have a better side than them anyway.
I don't think that gets them Conference League because they're going to get the extra 5th spot for Champions League.
I don't know how that works.
Yeah, so 7th maybe, but I don't think so. I think it's just the 4, 5, 6.
That's still respectable, considering Isco was
He missed a massive chunk.
If he stayed, I think they'd probably maybe be 6. Maybe,
Because they're now...
I mean, they were around there when Isco was...
14 points off Bilbao. There could have been maybe, let's just take... Maybe 8 points, 6 points around that. So
they were around there with Isco when he was playing. But
as you rightly said, he was player of the season contender when he went down. Yeah. And they've just missed him seen. So unfortunately, one of our teams we discussed have not quite delivered. Story of the player's own curse continues in many regards. But no.
No, that's not on us. They were already hanging on a little bit.
Yeah, we won't take that. Not on the conscience this time around. But no, it's another game we just had to touch. It was one of the great games of the weekend. obviously nothing to talk about, but yeah, Real Madrid won their game versus Bilbao.
Rodrigo.
Rodrigo, that's I think his highest goal tally for La Liga season.
Is he better on the left than striker or right wing? Particularly right wing. I think he's better on the left.
I think he just seems to feel like he runs directly to goal a bit more.
Yeah, because he can cut in. Yeah.
And he can go like that.
But he ain't playing.
Yeah,
exactly.
And maybe Mbappe now. So who goes
it's
where?
It's just a shame because he generally might be like one of the best left wingers in the world.
He always performs well when Vinicius isn't there.
Yeah,
and that's totally right because he has the freedom and he gets to go out there.
Yeah, exactly. So
we might end up with 3 left wingers the next season.
No, gee, how do you fit all them in?
And Alphonso Davies just get all 4 on one side of the pitch and just cause havoc with the right backs in the world.
Still not enough though. Still, need to look at other players. Maybe bring in Trent, and a couple of others. So, that's fine.
And Ondrick will be there on the right. Ondrick will be on the right.
They'll get Grimaldo and Frimpong is back.
Frimpong will play right back as well. It's ridiculous. Mate, I tell you what, fair play to oh my god, what's his name? What's the owner's name? Florentino Perez. People were memeing him because he got Rodrigo's shirt after the Brazil-Spain game. And don't meme. This is why the guy gets all these relationships and he signs every player at 14 years old to come join the club. It's ridiculous. It's time we mentioned Vinicius and Mbappe because it's time for our top 10 left wings list.
Yep, good lead onto it.
There you go. I'll tell you what, this is so much better than last week's list.
Yeah, right wingers was...
It might have been most debate, but there's some big-time players in this side, I feel like. So
I think it'll be pretty much the same as like last week, and same names, just different maybe positions.
A few different position adjustments, but other than that, I think we should be the same.
Yep.
Do you want to get kicked off with number 10?
Number 10. This was a bit of a sort of head scratcher. This one, I had like Garnacho in and around the place. I did, yeah. I reckon like Rashford, Grealish were kind of in the same category. Where like at their best, probably in, but just so inconsistent, right? So I went with Kingsley Coman.
You got one of the boys in.
I've got him in.
Yeah.
Now, like, if you look at his numbers, like, he's probably not worthy of it. But I just think when he plays on the left, Bayern looks so much more balanced as a team because then you can allow Musiala to play inside and stuff like that. And, it's just his injuries, again, are a big concern. But he's a serial winner. Like, he's literally... I think this might be the first season where... He hasn't won anything in his career. Like, he hasn't won a league title in his career, and he's like 27.
Harry Kane.
So it's just mental, and he's played a part in all those teams. So again, basically, it's like his stats aren't great, but I just think for that Bayern side, he just helps with the balance, and he's still a very good player. He's probably one of the best dribblers in the world, I think, when he's fully fit and playing. The problem is just that's not a hell of a lot.
Games. So. Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah.
All right, in my 10, I had to get someone different, and you know how it is.
Yeah.
I got Savio as number 10.
Nice, yeah.
Someone that, I think will be massive for Manchester City next season because I think it looks like Grealish is gone. From the sounds of it, they're shopping him, I guess is the best way to say it. They're going to shop around
barely
for
plays
him.
Anyway. So.
Doesn't play. Doku's been a great find for them, and Savio's in the same mould as Doku. I think Savio might be a bit more complete than Doku.
I agree.
He's played in a system that replicates Manchester City a lot in terms of... We talk about Michelle, how that system, you can play left wing, but you have to be centre mid and left back many times. Like, it's going to help coming across to Man City where you've got centre backs jumping into midfield and midfielders jumping out wide. De Bruyne often drifts out to the left as like almost a left winger, so it'll be good to adjust to that. I think he's so technically skilled, and over the last few games where Girona have struggled, it's been Savio who saved the day, and it's been him 100%. Head down dribbling, working 1-2s, and I think we're seeing Man City end of the season just start to hold up a little bit more than what we're used to. We normally see them just fly through. I think a fresh face like Savio next year could keep that energy and keep that production high because right now it's just like Grealish, everyone's understand how he plays his game. Doku's not consistent enough. I think Savio, unfortunately as it is, I think will be the answer to Man City in terms of a consistent performer that's technical but also has that flair. So he's number 10 100%. For me.
Well said. 9, I've got Nico Williams.
Yeah, Nico,
9, breakout season for sure, 100%. Scores goals, but he's unbelievable at setting them up.
Yeah,
his assist numbers are just ridiculous, and even some of the chances that he sets up, which don't come into goals, is just ridiculous. Carries the ball so well, dribbles the ball so well, and if he's not scoring them himself, he's setting them up. Like I said, he's unreal at that. So, again, he's probably still a bit raw in terms of his talent, like he's just come on.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we saw it for the national team for Spain. Like, for Brazil, he was ridiculous running it at that back four. And, he's been a key part of what Bilbao have done. They're got a big chance of getting a trophy.
Yep.
Top 4 push. So I think if they're going to get that, I think he's going to have to be. He will be the one that's going to be, one of their best players. So
Difference maker.
yeah, 100%.
I've got him, but not quite yet. I've got Jeremy Doku at 9.
Ooh, okay.
Bit low, but I think just because of form, this 4 weeks ago, I might have had him even higher, but I think the form just dropped off a little bit, and I have a personal favourite with someone else, so I've got them a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But still, he's shocked me in terms of this is more of that sort of Sane mould that I thought Pep didn't want. I think that's why I thought Sane got sold, but obviously I think Pep knew what we're seeing now. He's not consistent enough, but Doku, wow, yeah. Like he burst in the same with that Euros where he was young and ridiculous for Belgium, continued on here and coming to Man City. I thought, has he got what it means to be a Man City winger? Someone that can work without the ball many times or work in those little triangles, allow others to work out wide, but he facilitates so well. And at his best, sort of that midpoint of the season, he was unstoppable. He was just with his head down and cannot be stopped at times. So
he just missed out on one, to be fair.
I think his form in the just few weeks, it makes sense why you haven't got him in because he's been missing on the bench or just not involved recently. But I think at his best and what we saw mid-season,
100%.
is why I've got him in my list number 9.
I think I'm just stuck on the game against Arsenal. He was so bad when he came on. But you're right, he was
low block FC from Arsenal.
But during the year he was outstanding, wasn't he? So 8, I've got Savio.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Like it.
Everything you said is just, I think he's second in the league for assists.
And
I think he's in the top 3 in of successful dribbles in the league as well, which just goes to show his talent at just 19 years old. His crossing from the left, which is some of his balls to Dovbyk have been ridiculous. And again, it's just Man City have got another gem on their hands, and it's annoying, but it's so smart from them. It's honestly not fair, and it's scary what he can become in the next couple of years under a manager like Pep with Grealish and Doku, and he's going to have to fight for his place for sure. I don't think he'll come in and maybe start straight away necessarily, but I think once he hits the ground running, he's going to be an absolute weapon. He's going to be incredible, and he's one of the reasons why Girona are where they are. They probably wouldn't be there without him. They'd probably be a couple of places down at least. But for a guy of his age, he's been ridiculous, and he's scored big goals, provided crucial assists, and he's a great player.
Dobby went with the player he was without Savvy this season. Alrighty, number 8, I went Nico Williams, a little bit higher. Nice. Maybe just because of what I saw for Spain, that was like...
Yeah, incredible, wasn't it?
We loved that international break last weekend because of players like Nico Williams, because we saw Endrick and we saw Mano and all this. It was just a week for young players, and I think he's really established himself as someone that deserves a Champions League play time, in one of the big clubs, I feel like, because he's got the package. And if Real Madrid haven't had 8 different wingers that could play, I think Real Madrid would be snapping him up in a heartbeat. It's just, you're right. I think he's got goals in his game, but the assist numbers have been just so much that good, you can't avoid that. And he's playing with his brother up top there, and it's just like, name a better link-up you could possibly have. So I think the future's so bright for him, because if you're a player now at this age, like facilitating the way he's facilitating, normally it's the other way around. Normally they have the goals early, they have that flair, and have to work to find that.
Yeah.
But like Savio, like Nico Williams, they already have that part of the game, just going to add goals, and that's easy. Exactly. These guys have the pace to break through and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be super exciting to watch him in 2 or 3 years' time. He's my number 8.
My number 7 is Martinelli. Maybe a little drop off this season compared to last season, but still just such a threat when he plays, especially against Liverpool. He seems to always put in his best performances against us, which is annoying. But still, I mean, for a guy so young, still he's got kind of that total package in a way. Like he's got the pace, he's always a threat. His dribbling's brilliant. It's just going to be about consistency for him, and that comes with age and a bit more experience. Obviously, playing more Champions League football, more Premier League games, but. Again, he's been huge for Arteta and Arsenal, and he will continue to be huge. And he probably gets overlooked and probably underappreciated and undervalued because of Saka and Rice and Saliba. But this guy's younger than some of them, and still playing at such a high level. So it's big goals. Man City one sticks out again. It's a deflection, but still came on and made a difference. And big moments for Arsenal he's produced so far.
I think you make me second guess my choices, but I ended up going with DS7. I love him as a performer. I love him and Jota because they just produce the somethings out of nothing. Like on the weekend, that's a prime example. No one's getting to that ball there.
Yeah.
It's a deflected ball just sitting there that sits there waiting to be bounced. But he gets there, gets his right foot out.
He's best at. Ones where he has to take his time, he
does it.
stops up.
Sometimes I think, he could just be more clinical. He gets in those positions. That's why people liking Jota a little bit more than him and stuff. They like his clinical nature. But I think because they're not the same position, but they're playing that same sort of mould where they're going to pounce on anything. You give them any scraps, they'll be there to put it away. And this season's been so important in terms of standing up. Salah's been away for key periods.
Yep.
Others been injured. It feels like him and Van Dijk being the only constants in that, or maybe McAllister as well.
Yep.
The only real constants in that team, and that's props to him. I think if we see what we're seeing again next year, and that continued performances, I still one of his big fans, but the numbers don't back what he does. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. But yeah, I love what he does. But if those numbers start coming more consistently to back out all the hard work he puts on that pitch, you can have him in your top 5 quite easily. But unfortunately, just because of that, I've got him at 7.
Yeah, and I've got Diaz at 6.
Yeah,
he does everything unbelievably well. His effort, his pressure, the way he dribbles at the fullback every 2 seconds of the game. It's ridiculous, but it's just the end product, which is so frustrating at times. I mean, he does stuff against like Bournemouth at the start of the season where he flicks it up and scores a volley, and you're like, Sadio Mane. And then he does stuff against Man City. He had probably like 4 or 5 huge chances, and one of those you just got to score one of them. But again, it's that end product. But what I will say is, Jurgen Klopp only plays players that he trusts and he backs. And Luis Diaz, despite Jota, we're saying Jota should play with Núñez and Salah, and maybe Gakpo should replace Diaz at one point because Diaz wasn't scoring, but Klopp always plays him. And there's a reason for that. It's because besides his end product, everything is unbelievable.
Tip top.
But his end product can be very frustrating at times. Obviously, he has moments where he does score some great goals, like we saw Bournemouth and the one on the weekend in Brighton. But yeah, it's just the end product. Could be higher, but again,
to play you fall in love with it. I just feel like
you can't. You can be frustrated with him, but you can't hate him.
Yeah, it's impossible to hate this guy
because he just does so much off the ball and even on the ball.
Yes,
he's just a nightmare to defend against.
Perfect combination up top there with Salah. I feel like. I literally went the other way around. Minus 6. Just because, the numbers last season are just ridiculous. Like, last season was the one that we all feel a bit hard done on him. But when I looked back at him, like, but he was so good last year. Like,
very good,
almost way too good last season that he was never going to live up to last season. I think when I thought about it, when I looked at the list, I'm like, no, I'm being too harsh on him because, like, as you said, he's super young. Again, he gets overshadowed by... I think overshadowed time by Trossard. I love Trossard as well. What he does, because he's again like in that DS mold, makes something out of nothing. But Martinelli is like just a proper winger that you can just trust, and he'll be there for years and years and just producing consistent performances. Maybe not consistent output, and that's where we think we all sort of come to that consensus. Can he give that more output? Can he give that more flair at times? That's what we're looking for to take that next step. But in terms of the base prime product and what you're going to get 6, 7 out of 10 times, he's going to give you a great product. So he just sits 6 for me. Again, Diaz and Martinelli almost say 6 and 7.
You can make a case for both.
Yeah, they're both really good.
It's one position. It's pretty
at
much
the end of
the
the day,
same anyway. So.
It's tiny things we're battling
like you said last week with Saka and Foden, it's personal preference.
Exactly. Top 5 now.
Yeah, I've got Kvaratskhelia at 5.
Same here.
Yeah. I think we might have the same.
Let's hope we got the same.
So look, we've spoken about Napoli a lot. They have struggled big time this season. The drop off from last year is, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Bad.
But whenever they've needed a goal, it's always felt if they've won a game 2-1 or 1-0. He's always scored or always been involved in big moments. Always steps up. Again, his numbers are still pretty good. Even like last year, a bit like Martinelli, his numbers were never going to be, or it'd be like insane if they were still anywhere close. But still 23, you're going to have inconsistencies at times. Yeah. But even then, his inconsistencies are like the smallest drop off. Like he still plays at such a high level. He's carried Napoli when Osimhen's been out, and even when Osimhen's been there, I think he's been a lot better. I think he's just been more, just more involved in the game. I think. He comes inside and some of his goals, unbelievable. So, number 5 for
Yeah, like I feel like there's a few this year in the Serie A that have struggled at that side. Like I think of Chiesa for Juventus, right? The difference between Kvaratskhelia and Chiesa is that when he's not getting the goals or assists, he still is causing havoc.
Yeah.
Like it might not be the year that he's had, but if you look at last 2 months where we've really hyper-focused on Napoli, you're right. Every single time they've got a result, who's in the score sheet? It's Kvaratskhelia.
Yeah,
it's not Osimhen like last season. Like it's normally him finding Osimhen as well. So he can create something for himself. He can create for others. And he's just a complete footballer where like there's no real, obviously defensively there's still something to work on there, but in terms of the attacking out, like whole compass, he fills it all up. Yeah. I feel like in a team that's in form, those numbers go through the roof, like last season.
Yeah, with a stable team and like just a free-flowing team, he would.
Managers.
Yeah. We saw it last year when Napoli was stable and in good form. He was...
That season,
he was up there with Vinicius and Mbappe.
I'm saying last season you could have number one,
and
no one would have batted an eyelid because this guy was the hottest discussion over the summer. Because people are thinking like maybe the end of this season he might get a transfer. Maybe he's still going to be talked about in the summer. I feel like because he's been very, very good this year. Number 4,
I've got Leao.
Yeah, same here. We might do this. We might do a top 5 together all the way through.
Unbelievable footballer. One of the best attackers in the world, I think.
Attackers well
said, it's just, I would probably have him higher. It's just, I can't forget the goal drought. But even then, like, I think it shows so much about him and his character and his mentality. The fact that he wasn't scoring, but it's still setting up so much. And for a team that relies on him so much to create all their chances. And on the weekend, I mean, the back heel flick, to get the assist and then the finish. I swear when he went around the keeper, he was laughing. I swear if you looked at his face, he literally was laughing and like smiling. It was funny as hell. But yeah, still his numbers are good, like double-digit goals and assists, I think, this season. Still in the Europa League. And I think if he keeps playing the way he's playing, he's starting to add the goals to all of his hard work. Yeah. I think they're a sneaky underdog to take down a Leverkusen. We've got to get past Roma, but to take down a Leverkusen, I think. Just because of him.
That's the thing. He's got a good build. He's big, good size, strong, physical, and again, the ball at his feet. Like I can almost close my eye to think of it now at the San Siro, on that far side. He stands anyone up, cut in the right, bar line
one-on-one.
left,
You can't stop him.
Like that's gonna be a nightmare. I can just envision it now, cutting and whipping the ball in, or going bar line and whipping one across the box, low hard. Like, and when you've got the likes of Giroud and these sort of big figures in this AC team, that like the Loftus Cheeks that come into the box late, you love having him on the flank that puts in pinpoint crosses. He's become a facilitator this season because of that drought. But that, as he said, adds to his resume almost. That he's found another way to influence the game because, without him, they like the start of the season, they were quite average.
They were,
saying AC Milan were quite
very
average.
inconsistent.
Juventus were up here and they were really, really inconsistent and quite poor. But what's happened? His goal drought's finished, and all of a sudden, look at them fly. They're back in a second place. Superstar player.
Fair play to him. 3, I've got Son.
We're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it. So good. He's played a lot through the middle this year, I'd say. But still, obviously, a left winger. That's still, I think, his best position. I mean, he's done it for years. He's just one of those that I don't really think anyone hates in a way. I think he's so well respected, and he's been a great captain of that club. And this year especially, there was so much pressure on him to score the goals. Like, where are these goals coming from? Like, Son's going to have to score 30 for them to even be competitive. But I think his add to his game is facilitating. He's making others better as a captain and just as a general footballer on the pitch. I mean, ever since he's come to Spurs, he's probably had, I think, maybe last year, at the start of last year, he was struggling. I think he only had like 2 goals, 3 goals maybe. But that's it. I mean, in his however long he's been here for, that's it. That's all I can remember. So, scores goals, makes players better around him, role model. You can be on the pitch and like, I got a guy in Son there that. And I think as well, I think he's probably the best left winger on this list that can use both feet well. His left foot is probably just as good as his right foot. I mean, the amount of times he's ran through one-on-one and he's finished it with his left over his right is ridiculous. So, he's brilliant.
He's just a magnet for chances. Like, sometimes that's why it makes his bad spells look worse, because he gets so many. He's always in the right position, and sometimes you can't train those sort of things, right? Like that's just the player, and that's why he's so high up. And when you think of Sonny, you think of like Kane dropping a high up the pitch and just leaving the back four for him just to run at.
Yeah.
And some of those goals he scores when he gets in behind or he just sits down defenders, it's just like, this is like this, that. When I think of Tottenham, I think of those two together and just working like that. And despite Harry Kane always taking all the plaudits and always getting the golden boots, there's always Son like 2 or 3 goal contributions behind in terms of assists or goals. Like he's always right next to him. Yeah. Like some of the best Spurs seasons, the goal assist numbers are both 30 each for both of them. Like it's just, he's just ridiculous. And we're only just getting to appreciate him because Harry Kane's gone now. Because, you know, in many regards, it was, you know, all the Tottenham bad seasons, the manager changes, it all sort of took the attention away from what Son was doing. And you're right, there was a lot of pressure. A lot of us had zero faith in Tottenham this season. We thought, mid-table. I think that's what we thought. No one was signed. There was no real big game changes, but he makes Richarlison a better player. Yeah. He's worked so well with Maddison to make that one of the best duos in the Premier League. He's played down the middle. He's played to the left. He's helped others get involved. And you're right, any captain in the Premier League going to walk behind in terms of just a person.
He's one of them. Yeah, even just like a respect thing. Forget about football. Like
he's just
you want to go out and make him like proud in a way.
Yeah,
because he's just such a well respected figure, and like you just can't hate him.
Got to be the least hated player ever, surely.
Him and Conte, for sure. So,
just absolute champs of the game.
Yeah, brilliant.
I appreciate him even more now.
Vinny,
yeah.
I mean,
you want to put him one?
We'll be one in, but I mean, the guy that's won is probably the best player in the world.
That's the thing, Mbappe's with us as well, right?
Yeah. I mean, Vinny's been unbelievable this season. Some of the goals, his dribbling's just probably gone up a notch. I didn't know it could, but it has this year. It's been ridiculous. I mean, he's been on. I mean, there's not much you can say. It's just there to see. It's just Vinny. Yeah.
There's just goals. There's goals in his game when they get a striker, when they get Mbappe.
Yeah, when they get Mbappe, who's one for both of us. Yeah.
If they get him down, like people keep just not forgetting that, like they don't have a striker right now. They're not playing with a centre forward.
Hey, they're a Hosteley. Don't disrespect Hosteley.
Hosteley might as well not be there. He's taking up space that Bellingham can run into. It's ridiculous.
Hosteley was at like Deportivo last year or something.
They're giving him penalties to boost his stats up.
Yeah, literally.
Bellingham's handing him pens to and no, fair play. Hosteley's been alright this season. I'll give it to him because he's an average player playing in a big team.
He
so
just
fair
fights
play to him
and wins, doesn't he?
He fights.
Like just a bit like McTominay, just passion merchant. Just play for the badge.
Oh
Yeah.
God. At least he can let you finish. McTominay is just a run around merchant. But that's the point. Benzema back in his team from last year. If you add in maybe 2 years ago Benzema to this day right now in Vinicius and Rodrigo.
Oh my God.
Like we're talking about baby Rodrigo and Vinicius when they won that last Champions League with Benzema. Yeah. And that was Benzema like at peak of his powers. Like no one's gonna be like the Messis and Ronaldos and stuff, but we might be starting to see something similar in Vinicius and Mbappe in terms of what combination they could put together now for Real in the next 2 years. Because we're talking about guys 23, 24, 25, 26, these age brackets.
Not even in their peak yet.
Yeah. And they're going to run through the Champions League alongside a 19-year-old wonder kid that's been compared to Pele.
Yeah.
And then Rodrigo, who we think is one of the most complete players. And you've got
the midfield,
the greatest English player maybe in the future right behind. Like, we could be seeing this, the BBC reunited again.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be scary because I think Vinicius is probably the best player in the world on any day. Mbappe's the best player in the world on any day.
Yeah.
Like, these two are 1A, 1B. Like, it's your preference. And because Mbappe, like I said last week, could be a top 10 player of all time. That's why we've got him above and he's had a bit longer. But Vinicius, what's stopping him next year with Mbappe putting up ridiculous numbers? Because you got to man up someone and they're going to pick on Mbappe first.
You'd think so.
Vinicius is going to have a free run. Can you imagine
they're not going to, you can't like double team the fullback, which is what teams do now at times. Like help the fullback.
Exactly.
Like, you can't because
you're telling me Vinicius one-on-one. You do Vinicius or Mbappe one-on-one.
So you have to leave one of them, and you'd rather leave a player that's out wide one-on-one than a player that's through the middle. So,
dare I say, as a Ronaldo fanboy lover, they're gonna one of these guys are gonna break Ronaldo's Champions League record. I think one of them will break it in the next 2 years. Both and go score 20 goals in the Champions League. Again, other than for praise, I have nothing to separate these two guys.
Yeah. There's not a weakness in any of their games.
I love Vinicius. I just have a soft spot for Vinicius, but you cannot under pressure Mbappe.
Yeah, no.
He's going to develop these two as, will Vinicius now go up and be in that conversation?
I mean, they're going to be 26 and 24, I think, both of next year. I think Mbappe's going to be 26.
That's what I'm saying. This is like Mbappe entering a prime, maybe, and Vinicius.
Like, they still got 10, 12 years between them. Like, because they're so good at finishing that they'll do a bit like what Ronaldo did, where they'll convert to a striker.
Go in the middle.
Yeah, and because they're finishing, even like, like a guy like a bit lower, but like Sadio Mane did.
Yeah, just become a centre forward.
So it's scary. It's scary. How good they are and how good they're going to be together.
That's the thing. Like, this could age like milk, but I do not see a world where that doesn't work as a combination.
It just can't flop.
I just don't think it can't not work.
Because even if like they don't work well together, like nothing like bad or toxic, but like maybe they don't like pass as much as they should.
Yeah,
they're gonna score like just a ridiculous amount.
And if someone's not scoring, they'll just turn a facilitator for the other.
Yeah,
like, and we forget they've got Bellingham and Valverde around.
It can't flop. Like it's impossible.
I've never been so like adamant saying my life. I don't think it can possibly go wrong.
It doesn't feel like
two players in similar molds but play different positions. Maybe one game Vinicius goes down the middle. One game Mbappe
I think playing for Madrid as well. I think egos kind of go out the way, and it's a bit like right.
Well, especially if you got Carlo one more year. Carlo, you have to respect one of the greatest managers to ever grace.
Even if they get Alonso, like he's one of the most respected footballers,
exactly,
ever. So
that's the thing. Like, especially because you've had Zidane with that great Real Madrid team, you have Ancelotti with this great up and coming team. They just know the right manager to have for these teams. Yeah,
just experience.
You can't question Ancelotti.
Yeah, no, you can't. He's one of the best managers ever.
Exactly.
He's a top 10 manager of all time.
With Mbappe, he controls PSG.
Yeah.
He ain't going to control Real Madrid. Florentino Perez and Ancelotti. You stay in your lane, Jamie.
And you got guys like Kroos and hopefully Modric. I think they're both staying. I know Kroos is. Modric.
I think Modric might stay well.
You still got Rudiger's the back. Like, it's just so much experience for these guys that obviously they think in their own right they're the best in the world.
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't. That won't affect them because
they could have the best 3 players in the world next season.
They could have. Oh.
You could argue a fourth
in the top 10 players in the world. They probably have like what
5 or 6.
Yeah, 6.
Get Adelone in there as well. The best goalkeeper in the
world.
Best
backup keeper in the world.
Best keeper in the world.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. So I mean, scary times for the world.
Fullbacks and centre backs pray.
Scary times for the world. Honestly, they are gonna just.
Well.
They could batter like anyone. I'm talking like Inter.
4-0
I'm talking Barca.
Yeah.
Bayern, I'm talking Man City. They could fucking smash Man City, especially how like shaky Man City's defense look.
They're always just a step ahead, Real. It's a joke. When you think you've got them, you don't have it.
Yeah, no. When we thought they were kind of mudded a little bit, they just bounced back within a year, so it's fine.
Don't know why I want to do this one more time.
So I got 10 Kingsley Coman, 9 Nico Williams, 8 Savio, 7 Martinelli, 6 Diaz, 5 Kvaratskhelia, 4 Leao, 3 Son, 2 Vinicius, and 1 Kylian Mbappe.
I probably shouldn't say one. This is probably the same list as yours. I got Savio 10, Doku 9, Nico Williams 8, Diaz 7, Martinelli 6, Kvaratskhelia 5, Leao 4, Son Heung-min 3, Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe.
That's the closest we've ever been.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that we'll need strike.
The only change was you had Doku and I had Coman.
Yes.
And then it was just a couple of different.
You know, which is hilarious, by the way, I've noticed in the last 2 weeks. You've had Sana and Coman in both your lists despite slandering them for the last month. I love it.
The Sane one, you can't, it was like no one.
Well, yeah, no one else left, yeah.
The Coman one?
Maybe
wrong.
but I can give Coman, because I think Coman actually is probably better than the two of them.
I looked at it more from a balance point of view for Bayern.
Yeah. I like Kingsley Coman.
Yeah.
But
it's just the injuries,
as Flynn always says, your best ability is your availability.
Yeah. I was close to going, actually, I'm not going to lie. I think he's been outstanding.
Maybe because I'm so negative towards United, but I had Rashford and
I didn't really think of Doku, just because I think he's been really bad lately.
Yeah, well, he's been so He had a great moment in the season. I think I've just
Bournemouth. I think he's living off Bournemouth a little bit. The hat trick and the 2 assists. I think it was. But still, I don't know.
There's a few of these wing lists.
Now Coman Champions League, Fucking
Batter Arsenal, please.
Even Sane, come on.
I love if you battered Arsenal.
I put you on my list. Probably not rightly so, but still.
And Tuchel, please prove my list to be somewhat credible in the managers list. When I'm like 5 or 6, well, I
You had him 4.
Oh my god!
I didn't even have him in.
Oh god!
Yeah, but I had Alonso 10. You had him like 7.
The Havertz
he could be
tax.
1. He could be 1.
He could be 1. The Tuchel Havertz tax will live forever. Havertz
I love how like a week after that we were like, we're on the money with this, like Alonso in there, and then like, when it's sitting there like, we got Alonso so low, like why is Tuchel in? Why is Allegri so high?
Yeah, oh my god, Allegri. Oh god.
Well.
Simeone.
Oh well, that's it. Was at
live
the
and die by
time. At
the
the
sword.
time, I think we were pretty close to.
I'm claiming the Stuttgart managers number 10. I had that.
Yeah,
that was
that's
one of
fair.
my best calls of the year. I'm going to claim that's my best call of the year.
I'll just claim Arteta being in. That's it. Even that's like fucking hell.
That's my hate towards Arsenal, you know. That's his hatred. All right, let's move over to Italy because, as we sort of mentioned previously, a bit's going on there. Juventus lose again to Lazio. Not in the cup. I prepared this before the cup last night.
Yeah,
they
not
lost
in the
league
cup.
to Lazio, and probably deserved it. Probably deserved the loss.
Yeah.
They weren't great.
Yeah,
Lazio had a lot of chances. But again, I just feel like you perfectly said a few weeks back, if you're not winning games under Allegri, it looks really bleak.
The same thing as David Moyes in a way.
Exactly. It looks really bad because they didn't have much control of this game from minute 1 to minute. They had a bit of a moment there in the first half where they were putting a few chances on. The start of the second half, they had a big chance there as well, but they just never had control of this game for me. And I feel like when games aren't controlled for Juventus, it always benefits the opposition.
Yeah.
And they can always run over you. And I know it comes really late in the game, the winner, but it was about time I felt like
it was coming.
Lazio were knocking on that door.
They were the ones, if a team was to score, it was just going to be them. I think we just saw Juventus with Vlahovic and without Vlahovic. We saw it in the Coppa Italia, Vlahovic scored, and then without them, they didn't even look like coming really that close. I can't remember. They had a couple of decent chances, but nothing like kind of pinpoint, like, that should have been a goal.
It was Cambiasu, just after half time, had that chance when it was sort of like one on with the goal kick. It was very close. But that was the only chance I pointed on my notes where they actually had a big chance.
It's just quite a boring kind of team, isn't it?
I said last week, I can understand where Allegri's coming from because you look at this team, like this team list, and there's not many
great.
superstars.
Yeah, it's
you've got Chiesa not performing, and he's supposed to be a star player. Vlahovic, when he's not there, we know how much they struggle. Vincent McKennie, poor. Like they
as good as Bremer is, he's not going to win your games by himself.
Exactly. Like, and again, like we had a Bremer there, and he's one out almost at the back there alone. Chesney's been great, but again, we're talking about individuals in every line. We're not talking about centre back partnerships like with Arsenal. We're not talking about 100%. Wingers like Real Madrid. We're talking about one player in every part of the pitch. 4 players don't win you a game of football.
Yeah, no.
Like
a partnership might, but they don't have that.
Exactly. I don't think you can pair any great performers in any line at the moment. It just. It's a hollow team that needs.
I know Juventus fans want him gone because, and I don't blame them in a way because the football's pretty trash.
Yeah,
they're not winning, but I don't know how much more Allegri can do with this squad.
That's where we come from,
because it's a poor squad for Juventus. Like what we're used to a Juventus side looking like, it is miles from it. I can't. This is the furthest, like, this Juve side's been, in terms of where they should be. Like, they're miles off it. So, I mean, I don't know what direction they go. They can't sack Allegri because, I mean, I just don't think there's a good pool of managers out there at the moment, which we'll get to. But
I think, if I'm not mistaken, of course I went to like the deep dark parts of Twitter and and Reddit and stuff, but I'm pretty sure some of these forums, they wanted some like assistant to come and take the like interim role.
Yeah,
but we know what happens to interim managers. What happens is they'll get a good run, and then all of a sudden you get them on board.
Yeah,
and then you waste another year.
To start making decisions.
Which I think where you're headed towards, hang around to the end of the season, see what's going on with the manager market.
Yeah,
and then try from there because
they have to act quick though. Because you can't sack him and then go, oh, what managers do we want?
Yeah, you got to know who you want, have them lined up, and then.
I think you have to have a contract already in place.
I think
you have to go for the manager.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to sack him, go for, let's say, a Nagelsmann after the Euros, and then Bayern come in or like Liverpool come in and get him. Barca come in. no, I don't think Nagelsmann will happen at any club because I think the timing's not right with Germany. But yeah, I just think I don't think you can sack him because not just of the clubs that need managers, but the clubs that might need managers, like a Man United. If they
well, let's look at that. So look at Man United, Liverpool. Yeah. Well, we'll get on this bit later, but Barca, Bayern, maybe Juventus.
And just other clubs, shock announcements come out like Bournemouth with Gary O'Neill. Like it happens.
Chelsea maybe.
Chelsea, exactly. So I think just keep him. I think you got to give him the summer to try and because the squad's just not good.
This squad's good enough for maybe 8th or 9th.
Yeah.
Like I don't overreact here, but this is not like I'll rattle off the team that lost on the weekend because.
Like even last week when they lost and Vlahovic got sent off, like Gatti was the one creating their chances. He plays fucking fullback, defence.
Yeah.
Like,
let's have a look. So against Lazio in the league, it was Moise Kean, who we know has been not good enough.
Hit and miss, yeah.
Chiesa, Cambiaso, Rabiot, Locatelli's Moretti, not good enough. De Sciglio, not good enough. Regani at one point in time was one of the better players, but
bright sort of young players coming through.
Not really there. Bremer, I like. Danilo, I like.
Yeah.
Szczesny.
And
you look to the bench. Winston McKennie, Weyer, Yildiz. Never heard of this guy. Gatti.
Yeah, like it's not a good squad, man. Like McKennie was on loan at Leeds last season. Rabiot was being thrown around by PSG.
Yeah,
Chiesa's still coming back and has looked half the player he was at the Euros from his ACL. Vlahovic is frustrated and gets sent off, and even some of the role players, they should be kind of bench players starting cup games that don't mean a hell of a lot.
The worry I think of when I look at Juventus is, do they have that draw anymore? Like this is a
genuine question.
This is where it comes back to like even now Chelsea and Manchester United with what's going on in those two clubs. Do players who want to go there with what's happened with those two players with injuries and the whole toxic environment? When you look at Inter, when you look at AC, when you look at Bologna and Roma,
Napoli, in a way,
Atalanta.
So at least they got two superstars.
If you're a player, do you want to go to Juventus?
That's a heater of a question. That's a good question.
Because when I wrote up this thing, I was thinking, I'd rather be a Bologna.
Do you think that's a manager thing? Like they don't want to go because it's kind of boring football, or is it just a club as a general?
I think
the
playing club in general.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to go and play next to Winston McKennie if you're a central midfielder?
Yeah.
No way. Do you want to deal with being a fullback in a team that has really poor midfield control? You're going to be under pump all game. Like, do you want to be a striker with Vlahovic?
That's a genuine question. You're bang on. I don't think it has the same pull.
I think we're going into a different era here where the traditional big boys are not going to have that same pull. Barcelona can't because they've got no money to spend. There goes one.
Yeah. Manchester
and Chelsea, I can see this summer, they're going to struggle to pull players across.
Maybe, yeah.
I think...
money talks, though.
I know money talks. But that's the thing again, though. As much as money talks, these players' careers are getting destroyed because they're going to these clubs not being managed properly.
Yeah.
You think like that Casemiro thing where the Man United physios didn't find a hamstring tear, yet he goes to Barcelona to his physio he had for Real, and he found a tear.
Yeah.
Varane's complaining of being mismanaged with a concussion. We haven't seen Lavia play all season for Chelsea.
Yeah, no, he's missing this season.
Reece James.
Yeah.
We've seen Loftus-Cheek go to AC Milan and play every game. He couldn't play a single game for Chelsea because of fitness.
Yeah.
Chukwuemeka's has come back from a big injury. He's like 19 years old.
Yeah.
So as much as money talks, these big clubs, at least two in England I can touch on, that used to be the two big boys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go to Juventus.
Yeah. That's a heater. Yeah, that's a good one.
I want to go to Girona.
I mean, you'd definitely rather go to both Milan clubs at the moment.
Absolutely. I'd rather go to Bologna with Motta. I think Motta's going to be there.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. Without their playing.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah, That's a great question. You should have said that. That would have been that's still a fucking heater.
We can come back to that in a few weeks' time.
Does it have the same pull? I don't think it does.
That's when I was looking at it. I'm like,
something about it. It dropped off quick though, didn't it? Like
it probably coincides with that the points deduction as well, I guess.
True. Yeah.
Because they're not playing in big European football.
Maybe with Champions League it might be a little different. But even then, like
it just feels like so many the same team.
With more teams entering the Champions League, there's going to be so many good opportunities.
Yeah.
More than ever.
It's the chance too. Yeah.
So yeah. That's I don't know. That's,
Rattled you
you've
there.
actually rattled me.
Rattled you there.
Does have the same pool.
Yeah, that was not on script. That was just me,
no,
just
that
what I was thinking about.
Heater.
that day. Yeah.
Heater. Yeah.
We'll come back to that in a few weeks. When we're
That's
prior to Euros, but yeah,
Euros. Yeah.
there's a lot of clubs like that thing right now. We're going to enter an interesting period where there'll be different clubs with different pools. Especially this whole new era of Leverkusen, Girona, Brighton.
Inter ain't going anywhere. So
if these kids continue to push in.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I've touched on Roma and Bologna taking the spots. Roma had the big chance, but they bottled it. They drew, and again, they could have lost easy to Lecce as well. Lecce were quite good on the weekend.
I don't know how it ended 0-0.
It screams like a 2-2.
Lecce missed a couple of just one-on-ones, cutbacks and stuff, and then Aouar missed a massive one-on-one.
That was a killer.
But again, I think you mentioned it last week. No Dybala, and it's like there's no creativity whatsoever. Lukaku looks fucking nothing.
None of the play without him.
They don't get the same sort of impact from Pellegrini and a couple of others. So, yeah.
It wasn't Roma's best game under De Rossi.
Yeah,
it was
pretty
small possession, not many clear-cut opportunities.
But the ones they had should have been goals.
There was two. Ours and someone else's where I'm like, how? Was this ball not into the back of the net? But I'm just worried for
the guy playing behind Lukaku, I think. I can't remember his name. I think
I didn't make this many notes of this game here, but
I can't remember Lukaku touching the ball, if I'm going to be honest.
It was just
from what I saw.
Yeah. It was just just a little worry for Roma in terms of, is De Rossi the right man to keep with?
Maybe, yeah.
But again, we keep touching this. The manager market is going to be hectic. So if you enter in there, you better know what the hell you want.
That's just going to have to be an end of season, just see how it goes.
Yeah.
Europa League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they'll keep getting strong results, but it's games like this where I'm like, I know Dybala's your big player, but Dybala ain't getting younger.
With Dybala, don't they?
But it's like the whole Man United Casemiro thing last season.
Yeah,
how does Dybala turn next season? He's 32, 31, 32.
He's getting on a bit, yeah.
He's getting on. So you need to be able to still perform without your big players. I just think, is that the manager, or is that just the player producing for this team? That's the only thing I'm thinking about there. But they're still in around it.
Did we overhype Roma in a way?
That's what I'm trying to think.
Because with all due respect, they've never, at least I can remember, they've never been like one to challenge consistently.
No.
Like Juve and stuff. So is this just them? Like, something wrong with it? Are they just a fourth, fifth
place team
club? Is everyone kind of getting a bit?
It makes sense. Like they're not in a world of their own, because if Atalanta win, they actually go ahead of Roma, so they drop into sixth.
Yeah.
And then the gap to Lazio is big enough, 6 points. So they probably will be in Conference League or Europa League football. But 5 points of Bologna, 7 points of Juventus. If that becomes 5 points, the way Juventus are playing, then you're like, okay.
Yeah.
But I think that was a big weekend for them, and they've just...
Because they had that period with like Nainggolan and Manolas, that little period where they beat Barca, like the Greek goddess comeback story. They got into the semi-final of the Champions League against Liverpool when they almost came back and beat us.
Yeah.
That was like their little period, and I feel like that's been kind of heightened the expectations
of what the club is. Yeah. And they've had some great players over the years.
Yeah.
Like Totti and De Rossi are Italian heroes.
Yeah.
But they never really won much with Roma, so... Maybe it is it, but I guess when you have Mourinho come there and they win a European trophy a few years ago, last year, the year before last.
Oh yeah, the
West Ham won, but they win another final. They win some final last year, I'm pretty sure, but they've been in our finals and won trophies, so maybe we just all of a sudden
got a bit ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, the most, but still fair play. If they can keep pushing, they can.
Yeah, they're not far off.
They can sit in fifth. That'd be a big result.
The way Juve are going, they might completely drop out.
8 games to close in 7 points. I wouldn't put it past them to do it. And obviously my favourite team, Bologna, won again. They beat
holy God,
of the table.
The first 2 goals they scored, my God.
Something like, because that was like, did he have the he had the Jabalani in his feet? Because that ball was just like floating.
Was it last week where they missed like 10 open goals?
Yeah, they could have put it on the back end.
I know the conditions were awful, I think. I think it was pissing down with the rain.
Yeah, that was away and they just hadn't.
But then this week they just scored screamers.
Or Salini's first was beautiful.
That first one was
football poetry.
The keeper would have saved it, but it's like hit the exact corner, like in between the post and the side netting.
Yeah,
exact, and it was perfect. And even the second goal, a bit of knuckle on it, which was nice.
Oh, Sam Marcus, what a finish!
Yeah. Even the third goal was nice.
So. Well worked. Like Bologna type things.
Yeah.
A lot of links
Good
with
on 'em.
Motta now
Fair
to a few English clubs,
Oh, really?
Chelsea United,
Oh.
in terms of, which is no surprise. But I can see it actually working some of these clubs the way he sort of plays his
He
rotational
has to
system.
stay. He cannot leave.
Hope he stays.
It has to be like Alonso in a way. You built something. See how you go next year.
Please see how it goes in the Champions League. Yeah,
exactly. You can't
Bologna
leave.
in Champions. That's another time I want to go and visit a game there.
I got to get there first.
Sorry.
never know.
Touching wood.
Touch me.
I want to go visit a Champions League game next year at Bologna.
Bologna, yeah.
Catch me on a flight to
Vlog
Italy.
it, mate, you know.
Yeah.
Motta ball, you know.
Player zone goes.
Welcome to Man United, Thiago Motta. You know,
Play style and highlights.
Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely. My boy's doing well there from us.
Yep.
I'm
You picked that out a couple of...
I'm
And
happy
Stuttgart
with
as
that
well,
one.
your boys. So
happy with that. They had a slip up on the weekend. I think they drew 3-3.
still comfortable in Bundesliga. So.
I want to see them keep winning.
Yep.
I want to see my boys keep winning.
Yep.
All right, let's go to our next big segment. It's Education Corner again, Preston Education
again.
Corner. And we're back with this time 5 players who deserve a big move. Again, I love this subjective list because I can't really explain what I mean by it, but it's players that are good
Yeah.
that
Bit of
could
fun,
take the next big step. Bit of fun to sort of wrap towards the end here.
Yeah.
I'll get kicked
You
off
go
first.
Yep.
My Serie, I did do what you did last week. I went one per league.
Yep.
My Serie A player is Joshua Zirkzee.
Yeah, nice.
10 goals, 3 assists, a change of pace, a good finish in the area, and with Giroud leaving AC Milan, that's where I can see him go.
That is a great shout.
I've actually planned this
That
one out.
is a great shout, yeah.
Name
I like
something
that.
more made.
I
Same
like
league.
that. Wow.
He actually caused some havoc against AC early in the season. Perfect transfer.
That
for them.
is, yeah.
Talk about future
I rate
planning.
that.
Joshua
That's
Zirkzee
class.
to AC
I'll
Milan.
go to Serie A as well. I'm going to go with Coop Miners from Atlanta.
Love it. What a
Now,
call.
I think he's already said he's going to leave at the end of the season. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
But he's having a great season.
Best player in
I
their
think at the moment, I think he's probably one of, if not the most complete midfielder in terms of he can play 6, 8 or 10.
Yeah.
Like he can go forward and score goals, but defensively he's great as well. And he's 26 now. He's at a stage where he's ready for that big club move. So
Polina vibes about it.
yeah. And
He-
he's playing really well at the moment.
Gives me McAllister feel where he
Yeah.
can play anywhere in that midfield.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like
Yeah.
chuck him in there and see what happens.
Another great goal on the weekend. Great finish.
He's been their best player by a long way.
Yeah, he's been superb. I know some of his goals, like his stats may be inflated because I think he takes pens.
I think he's on. Yeah,
I think he's scored a couple of pens, but still, even then, like,
got to score.
look at some of his finishes from open play. So I feel like he's ready.
There's a lot of good Serie A players I think you could have gone right. I just had to pick, those two are good shouts. Again, I'm staying with my fan favourites. I'm going to the Bundesliga now. I'm going with Maximilian Mittelstadt to make a move.
I was so close to going in. So close. I was like, that's Preston's boy.
I've raved about him now for 4 weeks. In the last 6 weeks, I've talked about him because I talk about it again. The stats in the Bundesliga aren't great. 2 goals and 4 assists.
Yeah.
But watching this guy, he's got to make a move somewhere. I feel like Dortmund, if they don't get Maatsen back, or Bayern need to change things up.
With Davies on the way out. Yeah.
Get this guy, man. He is so attacking. It seems to work in this current climate in terms of football we play. He will shine at the Euros. Like, mark my words, he will be the player everyone's like, who's this guy? And I know he's 26, and I know I'm pretty sure he made a move from Hertha at the start of the season.
Yeah.
But I can see him making a move again.
Another move, yeah.
Unless Stuttgart really want to keep everyone there and say, let's go again.
For it, yeah.
But I think someone's going to come in for even maybe a Premier League style like a Bournemouth that might try and take the next step again.
Maybe, yeah.
I think this guy's ready to play some serious European football. He might get it with Stuttgart, but maybe he goes to one of the big boys.
100%, yeah. I think he's at like the same as Kumar, like right age to make that big move, and he deserves it. He's had an unbelievable season. I'll go Germany as well. I went with Maximilian Bayer from Hoffenheim.
Yeah, good player.
Hoffenheim have been it's been a pretty frustrating season, 9th.
Yeah.
But again, 13 goals, 7 assists for a guy that's 21. He has carried that side, even against Leverkusen on the weekend. Scored and could have set up another 1 or 2 if they'd been a bit more clinical. But, they're only, I think, 3 points off Augsburg in 7th. I don't know if that gets confidence.
This is what we're talking about, because I was trying to work out if Augsburg made it or not, but I think
is that
not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore.
But you never know. Maybe.
But still, he reminds me a bit of Isak in a way, where he's like lanky, but he's got the pace and his ability on the ball is really good. So, maybe it's a bit early. He's still only 21, so maybe he could do with another year. But I think if you're a big club, you've definitely got to monitor him and say, is he worth a gamble? And by the looks of it, he definitely looks like it with how he's carrying that side.
He's got that
at the
mold,
moment.
like that. Is that Cole Palmer mold?
Yeah,
Where they're big,
he's got that mold,
but they're
yeah.
good with the ball at their feet.
Yeah.
Thank God he said him because that was my other guy.
Those players are kind of rare in a way. Like they're hard to
but
find.
they're important players.
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
They're really, like Kai Havertz is, these guys are versatile.
I was debating between Mittelstadt and Bayer.
Thank God, because they were my two names I was going with as well. Because they're two guys that I've touched on.
I was going to go with Gyasi, but I was like, he's 28. Like
I think he screams Stuttgart.
Yeah,
He's
I think he
club.
should just stay at that club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to send the Champions League, just carry them.
Yeah.
Just like
exactly.
Danny Olmo vibes with Leipzig, just hang around and score Champions League goals. All right, let's go to Spain. I went Nico Williams.
Oh, nice.
I was going to go the kid from who's on loan. I didn't realize he was on loan at Almeria from AC.
Luca Romero?
I
had a look at that as well.
But he's on loan from AC. I didn't realize he was on loan from AC. So I'm like, well, that makes no sense. And so I went with Nico Williams in the end.
We're getting awfully close with our...
We're spending too much time together. I think we're thinking too much of the same. No, Nico obviously screams for himself. The reason he probably won't is because I feel like Barca or Real should go for him. But Real won't go for him because they've got everyone. And Barca cannot possibly spend 70, 80 million on a young guy that may or may not work. So maybe in a few years' time when Barca can spend again, or if Bayern are really going with this young, rejuvenated look, you think about Nico Williams and Musiala. I think that's a good call. A big club has to go for him if they don't make Champions League football, I think. If not this year, next year. But
100%,
probably the best emerging talent from Spain at the moment.
Yep, 100%. I'll go to Spain. I went with Martin Zubamendi from Sociedad because Arsenal have already been linked with him a couple of times.
I've seen this on Twitter.
And, he's 25. He's probably at that stage again where he's proven himself at a club like Sociedad, Champions League football, but not really going to ever challenge.
Yeah.
But now I think he's one that always plays. You can trust him. He's reliable, unlike Partey. Runs the game well from deep, and I think Arsenal wouldn't shock me if he was to go to Arsenal.
He's an Arsenal player. Vision.
Yeah.
So I've been looking at it, sort of his breakdown of his sort of stats and where they on all those info websites. Yeah, it was the passing that stood out.
Yeah, exactly.
That screams Arsenal.
Most of the time, he keeps it pretty simple.
Yeah,
but when he feels like it and when he can create chances from deep.
Yeah. Allowed Declan Rice to push on a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like it'd be perfect fit.
Yeah.
Twitter all over it. They love that move already. I also have Premier League for last. I'll go to France. Okay. And I'll go with Todibo.
Yeah, nice.
Obviously already one that's linked to United and Chelsea again. Obviously no surprise those two clubs. 12 clean sheets in 22 games. Nice were flying until about 3 months ago and they've fallen off a cliff. But he's been someone that's so important. Again, I said a few weeks ago, he's alongside Dante at times. He's learned from one of the better centre-backs in history in terms of, experienced guy that's played a lot of big clubs and done it in a few different leagues. So I think he'll get a big move, whether it be to PSG or whether it be across to the Premier League. French centre-backs have worked well in the Premier League recently, so I feel like clubs have been dumb not to go after him.
100%.
Even maybe a Barcelona again.
Maybe,
I don't know what's going to go on there. If you can get him cheap enough, I think the release clause is there, quite cheap. For Barca, if they're going to change things up,
it's like 50 mil, isn't it, the release?
Yeah, I think it's something
definitely worth the punt for sure. Yeah. So especially in today's market.
Versatile as well, which I
and still not even that old.
Young enough.
Mid-20s, early 20s.
Absolutely.
I'm going to Liga Portugal, mate.
Finally, and
I'm going with Victor Gyökeres.
Say his name.
Gyökeres, I think.
I think it's that.
Probably butchered it, but 36 goals and 15 assists is mental.
Yeah, crazy.
Now, because of the league he's playing in, maybe his numbers might be a bit inflated, a bit like Nunes was. Like he was getting like 50 goals, but Nunes is still incredible.
Yeah, he's a great player.
But again, like he's getting nowhere near that sort of goal tally. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he's got a bit of everything. He's strong, he's fast, he's quick, he's skilled as well. Like he's really good with the ball at his feet, and it's just gonna be he won't go cheap. Like the team's gonna have to pay. It's just whether there's a club out there like a Chelsea, an Arsenal.
Yeah,
are they gonna take a punt on him, a gamble, and pay 80 mil, 90 mil, something like that? So again, his stats are mental. I think you'd have to compare it to Nunes in a way.
I think you would.
Like, I wouldn't say Nunes has changed much from his Benfica days. No. He's gotten better. Probably missing a lot more, but still having a huge impact.
Yeah.
And I think this guy's got everything. So
the whole stigma around Liga Portugal players not working has to go out the bin now.
That's done. Bruno,
Diaz, Bernardo Silva, Nunes.
Yeah, it's gone.
And I think Nunes is a great example.
Even Mateus Nunes, when he first
exactly.
I'm desperate for him to come to Liverpool.
I think that system very nicely.
Yeah,
very nice in that midfield system. Yeah, I think that has to go thrown out the water. By the way, I'm so sick of that whole agenda.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because I think Nunes is I still reckon he's one of the best forwards in the Premier League.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
but people just like
that
he's
debate
a love to
year,
hate type player. Like people love just to take the mick out of him. Yeah. He's one of the best.
But yeah, he's worked out a treat for Liverpool. So I think if Arsenal were to get him, I think
that's scary. That's scary.
Yeah, I think he'd be unreal. He would be unreal. So it's just going to be who's going to take the gamble.
Who wants to spend that 75, 80 mil? Yeah,
exactly.
100%. All right, in the Premier League, this is a personal one. I might make a video about this team in a few days' time. I've gone Ilyas Arbani, who recently joined Bournemouth. But Bournemouth, again, my little club in Bournemouth. I
like that.
But I love watching this guy. Him and Milos Kerkez, like, are two, like, severely underrated players in the Premier League. And I'm going to stand on that hill to the end. Like, this is McAllister Endo type stuff. I'm standing on these guys' hill forever. They have been so good this season. He's got 6 clean sheets in 28 games. Bournemouth, by the way, are 4 points off European football.
Yeah.
Let that just sink in. Yeah. Little Bournemouth, with their 9,000-seater stadium, are 4 points of European football.
Yeah. These who were slandering them the other week.
And they'll still come at me and say, oh, they're still behind Chelsea, who are the worst, and Fulham. I'm glad you at least listen to what I'm saying, because they have been so good this season. The football's changed. In my mind, I think that's a big thing. Those guys on Mondays don't think it at all. They think it's all points based. But that comes into second hand with what they did on the weekend, which was beat Everton not playing that great. They've got a multifaceted way to play their football. Yeah, Iriola's a great manager. He's got the best at it. And this is a player that's come along with him, that he's signed on when he's joined here, and he's a great player. And I think as a centre-half, he might not go to like the big 6 Premier League clubs, but if Bournemouth don't take the next step next year or don't finish, maybe they don't get European football this season, maybe another club comes in for him, because this is a very versatile centre-back who's been so consistent this season. And I think eventually someone has to recognise how good he is.
That's a heater.
It's a rogue one. I have to come with some rogue
That's one of your best ones ever, I reckon. And that's because you come with a lot of good ones. That's one of
my favourites.
That's a good one. I like that. My last one, I went with just a pretty obvious one in a way. I went with Eze.
Yes, he's got to move.
He's at that age now where he would literally, I think, just be James Maddison 2.0, where you go, is he going to be the same player at another club? I think he would be unbelievable at another club.
Incredible.
At a club that is, no disrespect to Palace, but a club that is challenging for European places and playing in big games, in big moments. And I just want to see him in like a Liverpool Man City type of game where all the eyes are on him and he's whipping them in top corner.
Yeah. Do a Phil Foden.
Yeah. And he's versed, can play through the middle as a 10, or can play on the left and have just an insane impact on the game. Yeah. The only question is probably just his injuries, is why maybe a club hasn't come in for him.
Yeah.
Same with Elise maybe, but I just think a player of his talent, you just got to, 50 mil we're talking? I think if you get a fit Eze for a season, he's going to... I think he'll be similar to the way people speak about Foden, where he just comes on and is like, oh my God, like this guy's the second coming of Jesus Christ, But
he wins games for Palace. Let's just date that.
Yeah.
If you want to think about it that way, he plays for Palace, but he wins games for Palace.
Yeah.
We struggle. But every time Elise and... I want to see the stats of every time Elise and Eze play together. I reckon their win percentage is in the 70s.
It has to be up. Because they're actually good to watch. And they're hard to play against when them two play.
You got Elise as my guy, the two of them, but both of them, like...
Yeah.
I take them in a heartbeat. Oh. They are game winners. They're match
If they
changers.
were consistent for a full season, I think Palace would be around sort of still like 10th, but it would be a competitive...
That'd be a team that you'd be a threat any day.
Yeah.
They could beat you any day.
They just lost to 1-0 to...
They lose last night.
Or... Was it last
night?
They
drew 1-1 to Forest on the weekend, which was disappointing because they should have won.
Maybe it was Forest I'm thinking of. Yeah, maybe. I think it was Forest actually. Yeah, they drew 1-1. That was just a typical kind of...
I lost to Bournemouth last night.
Lost to Bournemouth, yeah, that was it. Like, it's kind of...
My boys Bournemouth.
Yeah. Like, obviously, Bournemouth are a hard team to play against, but still, it's like...
That's where you're at.
No progression still.
Yeah, he's still behind that. Well, Oliver Glasner, maybe he convinced them both to stay and they give one crack at it next season.
Hopefully.
but he is
They
more.
should get their bodies right, man.
I don't know what Palace are doing down there. Yeah, I'd be getting them as fit as possible rather than
like
getting
Eze
them
should be in contention for the Euros with his
Should be.
talent,
Should be, yeah.
but
Yeah.
he's not because of just
And should be amongst
injuries
team of the
and-
season chat as well.
Yeah, he should be, but just he's got the talent to be just not there consistent enough, unfortunately.
Unfortunately so. Right, we're running out of time, but we got two segments to squeeze in here. Let's start off with the managers first. I want to get that done first. I'll just get your thoughts on it. What's going to go on?
Oh my god!
Yeah,
Anything,
let me just lump you that question. What's going to happen?
anything could happen, honestly. Obviously, with the news of Alonso staying at Leverkusen, fair play to him. But I was
You're there stabbing foes.
I was Mark Goldbridge 90% club, convinced that Alonso was kind of going to come to Liverpool. The other 10% was like he'd go to Bayern, but I just thought it was meant to be in a way.
It felt like
it
it.
just felt like it was just going to happen, and I mean, anything could happen now. I mean, Liverpool sort of knew the day before it got announced that like we pulled out of the race for him because we felt that he was going to stay. There's obviously been talks with Liverpool around Amorim and now De Zerbi. Bayern haven't really said much. I think they're kind of a bit like, well, like, sort of thought he was going to leave.
Yeah.
But yeah, this manager market's going to be mental. I mean, Barca have been quiet about it. Liverpool and I feel like Barca are kind of on their own. Like they'll pick a manager that you might not see coming, or they'll pick that. They've got their own kind of thing. I think Liverpool and Bayern are very similar in what they want. I just think it'll come down to I think Liverpool and Bayern will go for the same manager, whether it's Amorim or De Zerbi. I think it'll be them two going at it, and Barca just kind of off to the side, just waiting to see what happens.
I still reckon, I got slandered for this on Monday as well. I still reckon Nagelsmann would be a decent fit at Barca, but again, they're probably right.
It's just
feel
the
like a
timing
Barca
with
guy.
him.
And again, he comes off for Euros,
and you don't know what's going to happen at the Euros. Like if he flops, he's fucking
There's
out
no
the window.
point. Yeah. I don't know. Barca probably finds them like they're probably an academy manager that's Spanish and is a gun, but I want to see Nagelsmann at Barca and see what happens. Maybe it's more just my personal feel.
I think
like
early prediction. I think Amorim goes to Liverpool.
You think it's Liverpool? I thought De Zerbi would end up at Liverpool. Just because
I still think Amorim goes to Liverpool.
Yeah.
I think De Zerbi goes to Bayern.
Wow.
And I think Flick goes to Barca.
Yeah, Flick. Yeah, probably. Yeah. He's already won it. Yeah.
I think
I
Flick
understand
goes
that.
to Barca. I as a Liverpool fan, I would prefer Amorim to De Zerbi.
I would as well if I was
because I just something about I was want to Mitch the other night about it. Like there's just something about De Zerbi in his press conferences and just the way he's been acting at Brighton. I don't like.
Yeah.
I think Amorim has been quite respectful to Sporting. He's been like, there's nothing in the rumours. Like my focus is on Sporting.
Club, yeah.
And I don't care who becomes the manager of Liverpool in a way. I want a manager that's gonna connect with the fans the way Klopp does.
At least half the style of Klopp, because I don't think anyone can match Klopp.
Because like I don't want like a manager that like kind of just walks off the pitch at the end of the game. I know it sounds stupid, but like Liverpool need a manager that is gonna at the end of the game like get behind like the cop and like Liverpool need that as a manager. So I think whoever you bring is going to bring a good style of play. It's just a matter of I think it's the same with Bayern in a way. Like they're very similar in what they need. So
it's gonna be I
think
Amorim's
that Alonso decision just shakes everything up, I reckon.
Yeah, and it looks like, as I said, you got Liverpool, Barca, Bayern, looking like Manchester United's almost now.
Maybe.
Like it feels like it's just going to happen. It's the way it's looking at the moment.
Chelsea, we don't know.
Chelsea probably Juventus. As well. Juventus as well. Like we're looking at like chaos.
There's always shock ones.
And then what happens now is that the clubs these managers need to come from lose managers.
Exactly.
And it's just going to be a whole.
Oh, this is going to be mental.
It'll be a cluster of just. And then Jose wants to come back. Where does Jose end up now?
This off season is going to be mental. Obviously the Euros, but I feel like a lot of our talk could be
movement than
a lot of our talk could be a lot about managers and stuff. And how it fits in with the respective clubs that they join. It's going to be a fascinating watch. I mean, I'm not really looking forward to it, to be honest, because
Not you guys. You guys are organised at the day the season finishes because Liverpool is so efficient with your work in the off season.
I do have a lot of confidence that we'll get the right manager and it'll work because I think our structure of the club is incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting watch. So
keep your eyes peeled. The Players Aim channel will be all over it. We'll be making videos
all over it,
and we're doing podcast. We might end up with an hour and a half podcast of just talking about manager movement in the summer. I wouldn't be surprised.
This is getting longer and longer, even though we kind of
spreadsheet out something.
Yeah, we're kind of hoping to get it like back to when we first started, like an hour 10, hour 15. I think we're getting 2 hours 15.
Yeah, we're getting closer to our territory in a minute. Just because so much to touch on, and this will end up on this. We'll finish on this. I want to talk about more about probably do an individual video about it. Just the chaos that's happening in the championship.
Oh my god, we haven't even mentioned that.
Try and keep up if you can, is what I'm going to try and say. So let's start with Leeds turning it around. They went up 1-0 against Hull, then Carvalho equalised, and it felt like, it might just sort of just drizzle out to a 1-1, and then all of a sudden Leeds do what Leeds do. It feels like they just don't get beaten at home, by the way. I think they're unbeaten at home the whole year.
They always win last minute as well.
And then, pop up with some last minute goals. And then obviously Dan James scored from halfway line, absolute limbs everywhere, blah, blah, blah. Leeds keep winning.
Yeah.
They're now in second, I believe.
Yeah. Ipswich top.
Ipswich are top. But
great turnaround.
Leicester win their second game in the last 5 games. So have a Didi and Drisby Hall. And a third goal from Vardy right at the end. They beat Norwich 3-1.
Yep.
Back to Leicester of old, but they dropped too many games prior to only 2 wins in the last 5 games, by the way. Then it comes to an instant classic, I feel like.
What a game, man.
For the last 5 weeks, I'm adamant. The best game every weekend has come from the championship. Yeah. This is almost top Blues Saints. It is. It's the same thing. Southampton are once again involved in one of the games. We obviously know Ipswich were involved in that Cardiff City crazy result a few weeks back as well. That was mad, yeah. So I could list you off games galore for how crazy the championship's been.
Even was there Leeds Leicester, wasn't it? Even that was
Leeds and Leicester as well. It was psycho towards the end there. Like, Ipswich won 3-2 over Southampton at home. That place was bouncing at the end of that game. 93rd minute, I think the goal came from.
Yeah, Sarmiento.
And again, both their last 2 goals to make it 2-2 and 3-2 were 2 substitutions.
Yeah.
And if people today, it's gone, Instagram and Twitter's gone crazy in terms of people realizing what's actually going on at Ipswich. But if I'm not mistaken, I need to find. I didn't save it, which has annoyed me. But I'm pretty sure Ipswich have gained most goals from substitutes off the bench, and have won most games by losing some rubbish. But Kieran McKenna's basically working a masterstroke. We're speaking about a team that was middle to bottom of League 2 when he took over. They got promoted to Championship, and they're going to get promoted, looks like, to the Premier League, maybe winning it, the Championship. Like,
that battle for the top 3 is mental.
It's crazy.
Whoever misses out, you just be
kicking yourself.
How?
It's like Notts County of
the top 3. I'd include Southampton in a way. I think they're miles clear of the rest. In a way, it feels like
the ladder as well. It says
and the ladder reflects that. I mean, it looked like Ipswich were on a downward trajectory a little bit. They were struggling a little bit. I think I might have still backed them. I think I still said Leicester and Ipswich.
I think you had. I think Leicester. Yeah, and I went Leicester Leeds.
Yeah, so I mean, it could be.
Look at this, man. 40 games, 87 points.
How many games left?
They have 8 more. They have 48 games.
Oh my god!
So 8 games to go. Ipswich 40 games, 87 points with an 84 goal difference, which is very important, by the way.
Yeah, goal
Leeds played 40 games and 86 points, 1 point behind, but 9 goals behind.
Yeah, that's
75 game difference. It's goal difference. Leicester got that game in hand because they didn't play that. Were they the team that got?
That was the helicopter. Crash.
So they missed that one.
Oh no, the fire. Sorry,
versus Southampton. So they've only played 39 games. They're on 85 points.
Southampton are gone, right?
74 points, they're long, but they played 38 games, so maybe...
So they can get to 80.
They can get to 80, so it's still 6 off Leeds, sorry.
Yeah, no.
Not looking likely.
And they're worse than the 3 other teams anyway. They'll drop points as well. They're not.
Southampton are not consistent enough for me. Yeah. But, then you've just got the race for the rest. Preston, Middlesbrough 58... with Carrick again. Ola's disciples doing God's work.
Weren't they mid-table again?
And they've again stormed back again.
What is it with them and second half comebacks?
I'll tell you what, Hull as well. If Hull had beaten Leeds, they're actually, let me read this properly.
Are they 6 points off?
They're not too far, 58 points. So Cardiff on 11th or on 56 points. Hull in 10th on 58 points. Middlesbrough at 9th on 58 points. Preston in 8th on 59. Coventry in 7th on 60. Then there's that gap to the 6th place team, which is Norwich, but lost on 64 points.
Yeah, Norwich need to hang on.
The Baggies on 68. They look like they'll make the playoffs.
Yep.
And then Southampton on 74. But just chaos.
Who misses out on instant promotion?
This is going to change week to week.
Yeah.
I think Leicester might miss out now.
That's what I was thinking. I just you can trust the other two a bit more.
If they win, they obviously go top, which is ridiculous.
I know.
But
Leicester still don't look as convincing.
They're just vulnerable right now.
I know Ipswich won last minute, and obviously the Cardiff disaster happened. But
Ipswich go to Norwich next, which is going to be tough.
I back Leeds. I do back Leeds.
Leeds have just got that about them, man.
Yeah, I do back them.
They might just finish second, but I know they're going to get up. They're going to come up.
Actually, no. I'm going to say I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to say Leicester, Ipswich. I'm sticking with it. I got to I stick with it. I know I said 20 seconds ago I back Leeds. Like
this is the championship though. It changes from minute to minute.
I'm going to stick with it. Final. Leicester and Ipswich. I'm sticking with it.
I've had a ballsy episode, so why not? I'm going to put my balls on the wall here. I'm going to go Ipswich to win it and Leeds to come second.
Who's going to win it? God.
Leicester got Birmingham. They're home. Sorry, they're home to Birmingham on the weekend. But
I mean, I don't even know the run-in for them.
So I can't. There's too many games. Oh no, they play 46. Sorry, there's only 6 games.
Six games. Oh my God.
There is only 6 games.
They don't have to play each other. Any of them, do they?
God, there's too many teams, man.
Because I'll definitely be watching.
Doesn't look like. I couldn't tell you.
It's hard, yeah.
I couldn't tell you, but it's
mental, isn't it? I'll stick with Leicester.
This is Tuesday for I love this game type stuff right here.
God,
I can't wait for these playoffs as well because there's going to be a massive team in the playoffs and an underdog. And those semi-finals.
I just hope we get a couple of I hope Ipswich get promoted no matter what.
I want some different teams.
And not different teams, yeah. Not Southampton again, and Southampton.
We can get who can we get? We can maybe if Preston get in the playoffs, I'll be.
Oh
pumped.
my God!
You have to go crazy.
You have to get a Preston shirt.
I'll buy a Preston shirt. Get it in the background.
Yeah.
Who else could? Yeah, Preston up. Coventry aren't far away. We know that they went to the final last year. I don't want to see Norwich or West Brom.
6 games, anything can happen in the championship.
Yeah, give me Preston, give me Coventry or Middlesbrough.
Yeah,
playoff final.
Anything can happen in the championship. So we will be here.
We will be there.
We will be there.
We will be there for that championship playoff final. All right. I'm sorry we couldn't talk much more about that, but next week hopefully there's less stuff going on, and I might cut one of the segments out. We touched on it pretty well. I mean, been a massive week. This has been a ginormous episode, by the way.
Well, back to football.
Real club football.
Yeah.
Real Brexit stuff.
Yeah. Next week will be harder in terms of the list. Top 10 strikers, my God.
And we got Champions League previews, I'm pretty sure as well. Yeah. Europa League previews.
Another big one.
Another one to come. There's never not a big one, I feel like, on Thursdays.
There's always stuff happens.
So much excitement. Yeah. Thanks for joining me again, man. Episode 54 wrapped up. Thank you for joining us. No lights going out this time. So there's a clear... There's excitement. Yeah. No blackouts this time around. Please, thank you for joining us. Please, if you don't mind liking, commenting, subscribing, 5 stars to Spotify, following an Apple Podcast. I'll see you for a prediction video or a reaction video sometime soon. We got the Monday pod. We'll be back again next week. Might be actually on Tuesday again. We'll be back again on Thursday. Until next time, guys. Hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy the weekend's football action. A lot to be excited about. And we'll see you guys on the video very, very soon. Until next time, guys. See you later.